Hi, I'm Claire Sylvan. I'm the Executive Director of International's Network for Public Schools. Our first school opened in 1985. We served 60 students, and we went on to open 3 more schools in New York City. In 2004, we formed a nonprofit organization to take this success and have open more schools. We now have 10 schools in New York City serving immigrant students, and we have 1 in Oakland, California, and a 12th school will be opening in August 2009. International's Network for Public Schools grew out of the work of 4 public high schools in New York City that serve recently arrived immigrant youth who've been in the country less than 4 years and do not speak English well. We like to say that we're as selective as Boston Latin or Bronx Science. We take only students who take a particular test, but you have to fail it to get in. You have to be in the bottom 20% of English language proficiency and in the country less than 4 years. Our students come from 90 countries. They speak 55 different languages. In 2003, the work that we had been doing as schools that had worked together came to the attention of the Gates Foundation, and they asked us if we were interested in replicating more schools. Given that in general we had about 6 applicants for every seat in our schools, there are 40,000 English language learners in the high schools in New York City, and about 16,000 of them, more or less, are recently arrived immigrants. When we had a mere 1,000 students, it was clearly a large population that needed to be served. And so we were very excited to have the opportunity to begin to open more schools that would be able to serve these students. And we had developed a very clear strategy of building a network to support schools. It was our understanding that new schools, while learning from old schools, also were innovators themselves and had things to teach the older schools. And so the innovation of new schools opening actually drove continued success in the old schools as well. So I think we're very successful with our students because, first of all, we understand that when they come to us, they come with a tremendous amount of strength. They have crossed borders, they have lived complex lives, and whether or not they're literate, they have an immense amount of knowledge about the world. And our approach is to build on their existing knowledge, their knowledge of their own languages, their knowledge of the world around them, and use that to teach them very rigorous academic content. We also have an unusual approach in how we do this. We integrate all of our students, regardless of their previous academic experience, so we make no attempts to level students into classes based on their English language proficiency, their academic proficiency. We also place students out into the community for internships while they work with us, and they work for a long period of time with one team of teachers who gets to know them very well, gets to know their family well, and works with them about their academic work, but also making sure that they understand the cultural and social situation and get the resources and supports they need to integrate into their new society. So in New York City has a graduation rate of 23.5% for English language learners. Our schools have an average graduation rate of about 71%. It ranges from 60 to 80% in 4 years and reaches 80% in 5 years and just about 90% in years beyond that. Our students stay with us until they graduate. They can stay until the age of 21. And given that we have students who come with very little schooling, we have students who come who have never been to school before because of wars in their home countries or other economic or political turmoil that may exist. Countries where it's not the norm for girls to go to school in the countryside, they may be starting school for the first time at age 14 and may not have ever been to school before. So we're very proud of the fact that most of our students graduate in 4 years, but we're committed to graduating all of our students, even if it takes them longer than 4 years. In addition to having exemplary graduation rates that far exceed that of the districts in which we work, we are very proud of the fact that 90% of our students go on to college, that our dropout rate is in the single digits, And we're particularly proud of the fact that our Latino students graduate at almost the same rate as our other students. After extended periods, we have an 87% graduation rate of our Latino students, and given the Latino educational crisis in this country, we're particularly proud of that work. Some of the things we do have become really exemplary practices now for others in the New York City public school system. For example, our approach to creating teams of teachers that work with specific groups of students is something that other schools are using, both schools that serve immigrants but also schools that serve any student, because they found that this approach really ensures that teachers know their students well and take full responsibility for the outcomes of those students while being allowed significant autonomy over how to get the job done. So we have a model where we quickly give responsibility to teachers. In the second year of a school, we set up team leaders. By year 5, we have a governance model that is quite complex, and we're constantly generating leaders.
What's striking about these schools, just immediately striking about these schools, is their high success rate. 90% of the children who attend them go on to college. That is really unique. They have gone from 1 to 11 schools in a comparatively short period of time. They've gone from New York to California. And they're also striking in terms of their education reform. What these schools do isn't just one kind of pedagogical reform. What they do is, what they represent is a cluster of reforms that range from the heterogeneous grouping of students not by level, in which a classroom is filled with kids who speak English at all different levels of proficiency and speak all different languages. They're innovative in terms of their professional development, their use of team teaching, the accountability structures they've created, the fact that they operate in small school settings, the peer learning that they encourage and rely on. And I think they've been influential not just with other English language learner programs, but with school reform initiatives across the city generally. They are characterized by very strong, very stable leadership. And they were also very appealing because they represent the great traditional gateway city of New York.
The E Pluribus Unum Award really allows us to say to people that what we're doing is validated, that other people recognize our work, that it's not just an isolated case of students and teachers in one place or even 12 places, but there is a way for late entry high school students who come to this country and their families to find a road to the door that will open the American dream and the possibilities to them.